Hello, welcome to Made to Heal with Angela Brown. So, I want to talk about changes and how they can be hard sometimes, just because that's something that I went through just recently. I'll get into that here in a sec, but before I do, I encourage you to check out my link in the comments below to my book called You Are Made to Heal Spiritually, Emotionally, Mentally, and Physically. We truly are made to heal. It just shares in it, I share my journey of being stuck for 30 plus years with depression and suicidal thoughts and all sorts of stuff. And I hit rock bottom in the fall of 2015, and I've been on a beautiful healing journey. And it's not a one and done process, it is something that I will continually to work at every single day of my life. So check that out. I wrote this book with every teen and adult in mind, no matter where you find yourself with your mind frame and thinking. It's got out of the box ideas of things to do to just strengthen yourself spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and physically. So check that out. So I want to talk about change because change is hard and my voice is out. I should do another live on that and talk about why my voice is out, but not for today. But I am going to talk about change and how it's hard because um, 11 years ago, my husband and I purchased a vehicle that would fit our family and that would be just right for our family, and we absolutely loved it. It was a 15 passenger van. We have 8 kids, and at the time, we had all of our kids at home, and it was the perfect fit. It was great to take, a big group to a birthday party. I mean, I ran a preschool out of my home, so it was so great to just, haul a bunch of kids all at once, and it was a blessing. It was the perfect vehicle. And then the last year to 2 years, I was telling my husband, I think that van has outgrown us. We keep losing kids. So we're down to half our kids in the home. And I'm just like, I just don't think we need anything this big. And I feel silly going to my jobs because here I am, just one person with 15 seats, to the side and behind me. And I just thought it was ridiculous. So, and my husband concurred. He's like, yeah, it's time to get something new. And so we sold our 15 passenger van, and I really didn't think I'd be that emotional about it. But last week, the guy that bought our van from us was like, hey, I want to pick it up tonight or Saturday morning. What works for you? And I'm like, tonight's good. Tonight works. And when we drove away from him buying our van, I just started crying. And um, but as we were selling our van, I do have to say, like, when change comes, when change comes in your life, I want you to pay attention to your surroundings because God talks to us in so many different ways. So as the person that bought our van was taking it for a test drive, my husband just said, "Hey, look over there. The sun's setting. Isn't it beautiful?" It's time to close the chapter of us driving this big 15 passenger van. It's that chapter is closing. Isn't that a beautiful closing to a beautiful ending to a closing of a chapter, this beautiful sunset? And it did. The sun was going down, and it went down while this person was still test driving, and they came and the sun was already behind the hill. And it was just, that was cool that my husband was in tune enough to bring that up and and just to look at the beautiful surroundings. So look at your surroundings when change is upon you, and how can you tie it in with your life? How can you relate with whatever's going on in nature to what's going on within your life? I promise God is involved and is very aware of our stuff that's going on. And so um I shed some tears because there was a lot of memories in that van, and thinking about it now I kind of get choked up. And then there's always the, oh, I was without a car for a little bit. Uh, the guy came and bought our van while I was in the middle of my third job for the day. And I stopped my job and then went back to work, but I had to have my husband drop me off. And that was a weird feeling. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm kind of carless for a minute. And then there's all these emotions that come up, like, oh my word, well, sorry. I was like, oh my word, like, I'm without a car. What if I don't find what I want tomorrow? And, gosh, I hope I find the right one for me. And anyway, it turned out beautiful. Have a new ride, and it's not brand new, but it's new to me. We always buy used, but it's new to me and it's nice. But it was a long ordeal, but it was just beautiful how my husband talked about change and was looking around him and just saying what a beautiful closing to a day, and a close of a chapter is a sunset. And what comes after the sunset? The beginning of a new day, the sunrise. So maybe you're having a hard time emotionally today. Maybe you're stressed to the max. Maybe you are in pain from something you've been dealing with quite a while. I know pain is something that I am quite familiar with. I've been familiar with pain of some sorts for decades. And so it's important to just have gratitude in those moments, knowing that God has you and that there are things for a reason that we deal with. And rather than saying, why me, or complaining, like, I just don't want to deal with this today, I'm too tired, or why, or, instead of asking those questions, but instead giving gratitude, glory and praise to God, and thank that God and Christ for all that you are going through. I mean, come on. It's the least we can do to show gratitude for what our Savior has done for us individually. I mean, I'll never be worthy of his sacrifice for my behalf, but I just think, and it's easier said than done, but having gratitude in all things is a secret. It's one of the world's probably the most hidden secrets, because no one thinks to do that when they're in misery or suffering. But I'm telling you, gratitude will help soften the blow and lighten your load and bring joy to your heart and happiness. So, think of the gratitude. And that's what I did. Like when I sold my big van, I was crying and I was sad. But at the same time, I prayed that the right family would buy the van. And this person was telling me about their life and how many kids they had. And I just said, oh my goodness, you're the perfect fit. And I'm so glad you were able to buy this. My hope for you is to have many, many years of memories and fun in this vehicle like we have had. And it was a beautiful thing, right? So just gratitude for the memories we had, and gratitude for who gets to have that. I remember I told somebody, like, I feel silly. I was like crying over losing a car, and they're like, no, I've been there too. And I'm like, oh, good. I'm not the only one. Like, I've never cried over getting rid of a car in my life, but I did last week. And so it's a real thing. And it's okay to have those emotions. If we don't have emotions or show our emotions, are we human? Absolutely not. Our emotions are there to help keep us knowing whether we're on track or off track. So just beware of those emotions and allow yourself to feel those. So, just again, think of the chapters that might need to be closed today in your book of life. Maybe it's a chapter of procrastination. You've been procrastinating and putting things off for years and years. Maybe you have been putting off putting yourself first. You've been taking care of everybody else around you, but you haven't paid attention to your spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical growth. Maybe you've been putting off an exercise routine. Maybe you've been putting off calling a friend or somebody where you might have had a rift with in a relationship, that maybe you can come to mend it and come together and unify. And just because we don't always see eye to eye with everybody around us, we can still get along. We can still appreciate every human being for what they bring to this earth and what they add to this world. So God bless you in your healing and your journey, and just pay attention. Open your eyes. Stop and be still, and just enjoy the moments. Enjoy the moments in nature. Enjoy the moments where you can just look out a window, go outside, get fresh air, and you will feel a world of difference. And honestly, you'll feel God's love. How can you not when you look at His beautiful creations, knowing He created them for us to enjoy? So please like and subscribe to this channel, share it with others, and until next time, God be with you and yours. Bye.